Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Hey everybody, back out of Giga-Texas, another beautiful day. It started off a little bit low clouds and mist, but it's turned into a gorgeous day to fly, as you can see behind me. And a couple of developments here on site that I just want to make you aware of. Besides the construction that's going on right behind me, this is part of that treated water system that they've been installing, including the caissons. This is going along this entire west berm, along that west side of the factory down to that caisson near the south end. Another thing that I want to point out, as you can see right behind me, there is a Cybercab. They have been resuming the Cybercab driving around the factory. I haven't seen that in the last couple of days, but now, as you can tell by these short video clips, they've resumed, and there's at least two of them that are driving around the site today, and kind of the same familiar pattern that we've seen in the past. Now, another thing that I want to point out with his good development is on that north side, that construction area, both of the cranes have been moved over to where the footings are. They're being used to move the steel items around and get ready for that vertical assembly. In addition to that, they've started or restarted the footing excavation farther to the north, and they're going to try to finish out that entire building. And with a couple of these images, particularly the one that I have at a very high altitude, this gives you a great idea of just the immense scale of this new building. It's larger than both the die shop and the battery cathode plant combined. And I've got a pretty good idea what the grid pattern is, and I'll give you an indication of that in a future video so we can talk about the actual size of this new building. Two other things that I do want to bring up. First of all, as a reminder, next Tuesday, the 22nd of April, here at Giga-Texas, they will be doing the first quarter financial results meeting. And in addition to it starting at 4:30 Central Time here at Giga-Texas, it looks like they're going to be doing a company update in addition to that financial results. So kind of looking forward to that. It's also just a reminder, it's on a Tuesday, not a Wednesday, so that's a little bit of a difference as well. And while I'm talking, you can see there's two Cybercabs that have pulled up right next to me. The last item that I just want to bring up, and just a reminder, is coming up very soon on the 26th of April over at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The Tesla Florida Owners Club is putting on the Tesla Space Jam event. I will be talking at that event, and this time I'll be looking at my expertise and my background in aerial refueling and comparing that to orbital refilling, the indications of what that's going to mean for our space program, and also some of the details and comparisons to what our aviation program looked like back in the 1920s. I think that's a pretty good parallel, and that'll be what I'm talking about. So hopefully, if you can come down there, I'll be looking forward to seeing you, and I'm just looking forward to talking about space down at Kennedy Space Center. So without further ado, let's get into the drone, let's fly around the site and see what Giga-Texas looks like today. Also, as a special kind of ad, I'm going to follow along the Cybertruck path under the building through the boring tunnel over to the west side, and showing you another video that Tesla released with the Cybertrucks driving through the boring tunnel. So I hope you enjoy that. So let's get into the drone, fly around, and see what Giga-Texas looks like today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good morning from a low cloud and kind of misty skies morning here at Giga-Texas. It does clean up during the day and during the flight, so we'll get a lot better visibility. So what I decided to start here on the south end, fly along the Colorado River, and just kind of refresh again where this ecological paradise, this area open up to the public that Giga-Texas is going to have and was recently announced. And I kind of gave you some video or images of this a few videos ago. But what I wanted to show you is at the bottom of the screen here, this is where there's going to be a sports complex that is put in. Again, it'll be open to the public, and this kind of, I don't know, tree-lined area with some of the dirt here at the bottom of the screen is where that's going to go, right next to the Colorado River. And then on the north side of the Colorado River, through all those trees, are going to be bike paths and walk paths and some nature conservation areas. Probably be able to boat on that Colorado River. And then as we go further up to the north, through all these trees, there'll be a garden that's open up to the public, kind of a community garden, and a lot of other features through this entire area. And as I look back along the Colorado River, just imagine all of this area that we see in that view open to the public. And of course, Giga-Texas right in the background. It'll be available for the employees as well, and something up around 70,000 people that live around this area. So something to definitely look forward to. Now, all of this, what we see here is that east side with the contractor trailers, the workshops, the recycle center at the bottom left, the east warehouse and wheels. All of this is relatively temporary, and once that is no longer needed, we'll see some additional construction here, and I'm kind of interested to find out what they're going to construct once that area is cleared up. As we fly back closer to the factory, we see this material staging yard at the bottom with a lot of those materials that are being used on the south end, and also a view of that parking garage. I don't see any vehicles really other than just that one. They had several on the last couple of videos, but those have all been moved away. And of course, at the bottom of the screen, there's no vehicles in that east temporary lot. All of those have been fixed up, especially with that cant rail trim piece on the side of the Cybertrucks, and then all of those have been moved over to the outbound lot and shipped off for customers. So instead, I'm going to fly to the south along the east side. The stamping machine structure is off to the right. We can see the extension of the building and a lot of the kind of vapors coming up out of the cooling plant for that Cortex-1 supercomputer in this south end. And I'll try to maneuver around the clouds so we can get a better view of what is going on here at the south end. But what is interesting is that at least actually, when I started flying, 5 of the fans were actually working. That is a record as far as I'm sure of, and that tells us that they are definitely using a lot of that computational capability within this south end. We also see that there's a new temporary platform that has been added onto the east side of the building near where we saw the trim being installed on my previous video. So I'm going to bring the drone down lower, give you this ground level view of that chilling plant and all the valves and pipes on the bottom floor. But also, as I maneuver around here, we can get a much better view of that new temporary platform, that large trim piece that was added on the left-hand side of the screen, just under the glass. Also, that kind of structure on the inside where that platform is, and just some other details. So this side continues to have some changes, and I'm looking forward to finding out exactly what that is going to be once it is completed. Now, another thing I wanted to show you at this lower altitude is on the south end, just to the south of the Cyberpond, the trench work that we saw underway on the previous video is continuing. We see more of the conduit being put in through this trench just on the side of River Road, and it continues all the way up towards where that fork is. And I'm being told that they may be putting in a lighted berm for that fork, so that may be what we're seeing. But here's a small access cover with a concrete vault that's being installed. You can actually see a worker inside, and then the continuation of the conduit all the way over to where this fork statue is located. So this is yet another thing I'll keep in my view as things develop. Now, one thing I did notice is you'll see all of these Cybertrucks and occasionally a Model Y driving right through this part of the road. Right now, instead of using the Cybertunnel, these Cybertrucks and the Model Ys were using this road. They're all driving autonomously over to that east or the west end of line facility underneath that bridge and then up to the north. So pretty cool to see that in operation.
In addition to that, we see more of the trench boxes, some large auger drill bits on the ground, and some work with the pipes that are going in through this part of the site. Now, this is going to continue all the way up to that caisson we see on the left-hand side of the screen, and then continues along the berm all the way to the northwest side, where in my intro you could see the construction going on right behind me. So all of this is related to continuing to add more of that treated water or sewage water, if you will, pipes that are going in through this entire section. And it's related to all the other caisson work that is underway as well. As I come back to this site, I did notice that they've remarked this parking lot, and they are now vehicles. That may be one of the reasons why that was being cleared out on my previous video. So it's good to see, at least for right now, what they plan on using this site for. You can also see the markings in red for the lane that drives along that side of the site. As we pass along the southwest corner, proceed up towards where we see the window line continuing to have work done. A few things that I want to point out. One, there's some deliveries of glass in the crates on the right-hand side of the screen. Two, if we look inside this pathway that goes next to the cyber tunnel all the way to the east side where we saw that trim piece, they've got all the walls painted black, so it kind of blends in with the window line. And then speaking of the window line itself, not only do we see the crews getting ready to start installing some glass, and they have the mounts along that angled piece, but also that trim that is very similar to what we saw on the east side. So very interesting what they are doing with the window lines on both sides of this extension. Another thing I wanted to show you, I'll bring the drone up and we'll look on the roof, is that there is work continuing with adding solar panels in. Now, when I looked at these solar panels, they almost look like they are older ones. They had some dust and some other kind of contaminants on top of the solar panels that they're putting in. So I don't think that they're brand new, but we can clearly see the Unirack mounts that are being laid out and using bricks to hold them down, the way that the solar panels are continuing to be added in going to the north, and also they're preparing the inverters so that they can operate. So anyway, something to continue to watch what they are doing. Now, one thing I did want to do is relocate the drone here onto the roof over this gray kind of section, and I want to show you where the cyber tunnel it starts here in the factory on the ground floor, right underneath where the drone is. And then if we look straight up across, we can see on the other side of the highway, the cyber tunnel. So I'm going to fly along this route directly over the tunnel. I want to give you a good sense and context of exactly where that tunnel proceeds. And this is where it comes underneath the highway to this section through the cyber truck kind of superstructure, and this is where the Cybertrucks exit the cyber tunnel. So as I maneuver the drone here, I'm going to get ready to play the Tesla video showing what it's like to be in the Cybertruck and getting into the tunnel, driving through it, and then emerging on this side. And this is a great view from inside the Cybertruck, self-driving, entering into the tunnel. And this is what it looks like going through that tunnel. It's about 0.6 of a mile in length. And that's about 1 kilometer of length inside the tunnel. And they will have several Cybertrucks going through here. They're just sort of following each other. And then there's a 17-degree incline to the exit. When they get to this point here, there's of course that stop sign. They have some of the lane markers, and the vehicles will wait for the passing traffic. And once that has happened, then the vehicles autonomously turned onto this road. You can see the end-of-line facility in the upper left, the flags on the right-hand side of the screen with the glass of the Gigafactory itself. And the outbound lot is on the left-hand side. Now, as we get up to these 4 parallel lanes, what's very interesting and very cool is to see that the Cybertruck is self-sorting. It's heading over to lane number 1, which is closest to the end-of-line facility on the left-hand side of the screen. And it proceeds up and gets into this line. And these are all put into queue, waiting for their time to go into that end-of-line facility for the final processing. So this is very similar to what we saw with the Model Ys And this is repeated with the Cybertruck. So I'll return back to the drone. This is that Cyber Tunnel again, and that's where the Cybertrucks drive all the way through and how it is done. So I hope that you enjoyed that quick look and put into context that Tesla video. While I'm here on the south end, I'll just take a quick look at the work with this south caisson. See more of the concrete liners on the ground. Those are put into the caisson itself, and then with hydraulic rams, they're pushed into the bore of the tunnel. Today, there's a large cloth on top of that open caisson. I'll zoom in so you can get a kind of view of what it looks like. Actually, I won't zoom in. I'll just stay on this view, and don't mind all the birds. They're nesting on that south bridge. I'll just go around them, and we'll continue off to the west, and we'll take a look at this material staging yard coming up ahead of us. We still see more of the steel items being stored here, along with the transformers, the concrete vaults, that small tent, and the clearing on the upper center of the screen. What did catch my eye is on this particular material staging yard, where we see some of these pipe segments, the evergreen containers, the long-term storage parts for a new stamping press, and in this middle triangular section, all of these silver-wrapped items. I did notice that crews were unpacking several of them here in the middle of the screen, and I'll try to zoom in so you can get a good view of what these are. These are all part of the 4680 cell production portion of the factory, and those extra lines that we've been watching for quite some time. And we've been seeing a lot of this equipment being unpacked from here, put onto the yard trucks, and moved over for installation into that northwest part of the main factory. So that is continuing today. This is a great view from this orange and white tent looking back towards the main factory, and some of the other materials that are stored here, some blue of the pipe segments on the bottom right. We see more of these transformers, the cable on spools that are being used for all the electrical connections, more scaffolding on the bottom of the screen, of course containers, and a bunch of other parts that are just waiting for their turn for installation. The other thing I did notice is that the outbound lot is quite full. I'd say it's around 65 to 75% of its full capacity. And of course, those large lanes next to the vehicles are where the trucks come in to load them up. We see a very nice mixture of the Model Ys and Cybertrucks throughout here today. Now, as far as production capability or capacity right now, I've been told that for the Model Ys, they are now around 70 per hour, which is about one Model Y for every about 55 seconds or so. That's a little bit slower than what they would like to eventually get to, but I think that's a great indication. Just to give you an idea, if they work 10 hours a day, that's about 700 a day. They have 4 days of production right now. So we're talking somewhere around 3,000 vehicles per week at the current ramp rate. And I think that's pretty good information of what we are seeing, and kind of confirmed with what we see on the ground, and also good idea of how they are doing as far as the ramp of those production lines. Now that the Model Y has been released, it is available for purchase, and they are getting really finished up with their training and their comfort with the new lines. So that's about where we're at right now. Of course, we do see a lot more Cybertrucks up here on the north end, and that just gives us an indication of what that Cybertruck production line is like. And I don't know what that ramp rate is for the Cybertrucks at present, but we'll just continue to watch what's on the outbound lot. Now, as I do continue to maneuver around, this is that point where the 4 lanes are that we saw at the end of the Tesla video with the Cybertrucks. This is, of course, where the Model Ys come over. All of these are self-driving as well. And this is just a great way of kind of wrapping up that video segment to show you where all this has taken place. Now, I'm going to continue to fly down to the south along these 4 main lanes. Of course, the end of line is on the right. The supercharger tents are also on the right here, and this gives a good context of where this is located and what we saw in that video. So I'm going to kind of reposition the drone, fly back towards that cyber tunnel, and we'll get ready to cross over the highway and resume on the other side. As we get back to the other side, notice all of the Cybertrucks on the bottom of the screen. They have just exited the factory and they're heading over on the roads, not through the Cyber Tunnel, to that area where the 4 lanes are located on that east side of the end-of-line facility. So it's really great to be able to see that in action here today. Now, as I continue to fly up to the north, another big change that I noticed, and this has to do with those caissons and the water management system that they are continuing to do work on, is back here at the base of the flags. We see additional excavation work through their newly finished current version of the landscaping. And this is all related to that pipe that we see being added in on that northwest side of the factory. And it will continue to go all the way through this area. Some of the horizontal drilling, I think, will be used as well. And when we get up further on this side to that northwest corner, I'll show you the current activity. Now, this is that exit point for the Model Ys from the factory. At the instant of time that I was here with the drone, there were no Model Ys coming out. But at the rate of about 1 every 55 seconds, it won't be long until we see another one coming out. And indeed, all throughout the day that I was flying, I saw Model Ys coming out, driving over to that outbound lot. In this section, we see that covered walkway for the construction, that open section above the window line and where that wall panel has been removed. Some of the plastic on the inside has been removed. I think that's because they've been loading in a lot of equipment. And this is just a quick view inside where that new mezzanine has been added and some other equipment that is being installed. And this is all in relation to Cybercab production as they continue to prepare the production facilities inside the factory. This is that new entrance being used by employees and the bus stop. And it's great just to see another part of the factory now operational after it has been massively reconfigured over the last year or so. Now, as we approach this northwest corner, as I mentioned, there is all this work that is being done right now. This is installing more of that water pipe or that treated water pipe. You can see some of the excavation work underway here next to the sidewalk. And this is just going to extend all the way down that berm. You can get an idea of the pipes on the left and in the middle of the trench. And as I just continue to maneuver the drone around, this just gives you a really good idea of where exactly we are with the factory and this additional line of the water line that is being added in. So as I pull away to the north, I'm going to switch to a slightly different view. I just want to show you some of the Cybercab training and testing that is going on today. This is along that west side. I noticed this after I had finished my shot and I was coming back for a battery swap. So that's why I kind of spliced it in here right now. But I really want to just give you an idea of what this testing is like and where they are kind of stopping along the way. You'll see all those tents nearby. They do these simulated stops for passengers, and then they just continue this route all the way around the factory. So that's just a real quick view of some Cybercab testing that was underway today. Now we'll come back here to this shot. As we get in closer, I'm going to slightly change the video one more time because later on I noticed that they are starting to clean the roof starting on this north end, and we'll see how much of it they do. But this gives you an idea what the roof would look like if it were clean and all of the dust from the construction and a lot of the pollen, because this is pollen season, that has kind of accumulated on the roof, and you can get a good sense of the amount of dirt that's kind of flowing away along that roof. So I'll continue to monitor this and we'll see how much more of the roof is going to be cleaned. And if they do the whole thing, it will make it look considerably different than it looks right now with all of that dirt. Now on the north end, this is the kind of that lot for the casting, sorting, and handling. Right now, it's mostly being dominated by the racks that would hold the castings. It seems like they're moving more and more of them up onto this particular area. Some of those old bumper mounts for the paint on the left, some additional equipment being stored up on this part of the site as well. And as I kind of maneuver back towards the main factory, this gives you some good views of more of the castings and the racks that are being stored on this north east side of the factory. Of course, casting machine structures right here. They have the melt plant, which is this awning that has been added on. And of course, the baghouse filtration plant, that is that tall unit. While I'm here, I will kind of try to give you a zoom in view of some of the equipment that is being added in. And we also see those blocks with that blast wall area. They've been assembling that over the last couple of weeks. Its final purpose, I'm not 100% sure, but it's clearly an area that they want to segregate away and ensure that it is able to handle at least high temperature items in that part of the section. This is that baghouse filtration plant. Its assembly continues. We do see some temporary platforms that have been added to this tall superstructure. And of course, more of those pipes and the filtration unit. I also wanted to just bring the drone up and look back to the east and just give you a good view of what this parking lot looks like on a typical day early in the morning as all of that production starts ramping back up for the day. And we're going to fly along the power lines and take a look at the changes that are going on here at the Megapack site. As we know that on my previous video over the weekend, they finished putting in, or at least placing, all the Megapacks. I believe that there are 74 of them here. And this is what that looks like now that the rack that you see on the middle of the screen between the transformers where all those cables are going to be installed, and of course more equipment on this platform. It'll eventually be connected into that trailer at the bottom of the screen at the electrical switch yard. Speaking of which, all of what we see here is the work that is in preparation for that switch yard to double in size. And part of the entire operation is this new water detention pond at the bottom of the screen. You can see that bulldozer going up that berm. This gives you a good idea of that angle and the depth of this pond. Plus you can see that water drain pipe that extends into that pond, and it will connect up to this part of the site where they are putting in concrete vaults and filling in some of the trench where that pipe is located. They also put the gravel on top of the pipe to keep it from floating within the trench as the rains were to come through this area. But a lot of the grade work here looks like it's nearing completion. Of course, we have this prepared surface, which is being used as a driveway right now. The other big news is this north construction site for the Central Support Campus facility. We're seeing a lot of the steel that's been delivered, and now the 2 cranes are in operation positioning the steel around the footings in preparation for that vertical assembly. And while I was here, I was seeing a lot of trucks continually develop or deliver more and more of the steel items. And another thing I want to point out, a couple things. One, I had mentioned that the steel was powder coated. I've been reminded by Desi Doolin, one of my Patreons and longtime viewers, that it's not powder coated, it's just painted. So I wanted to make that clarification. The other thing that he noticed, and I want to point out, is the perimeter grade beam, this concrete wall segment that you see here on this side of the building, is noticeably taller than the perimeter grade beam on the east side, which is coming into view. So that means that the 2 walls, the east and the west wall of the building, will be built on different heights. Now, why is that? That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I am interested to see what this design will look like as they start adding the steel and then eventually the concrete walls onto it. But for now, and there's a good view across, we can see that the perimeter grade beams on either side of the long walls of the building are at different heights. So that's pretty interesting that they would choose to do that. We see more of the steel being delivered on the left with that green truck. Of course, at the bottom of the screen, more of the rebar cages are being assembled and being prepared to be moved over into the new excavation that is underway for the footings farther to the north. Again, a great view of that steel that's being delivered. Also, just take a look at the workers next to the steel for a good sense of scale, and also with the perimeter grade beam as well. As mentioned, this is where the excavation work for the footings has resumed, and they're wasting no time. As soon as the excavation's done, the rebar cages are placed, and then they prepare the column mounts and mounting points with those wood forms, and then the concrete is poured. So this is going to happen very quickly, at least at the rate that they're going. Also on the ground, you can see where they've marked off with orange paint more of the footings that will be excavated next. And as I bring the drone up to a higher altitude, this just gives you a great overall view of this construction site and the size of this new building. If you compare it to the size of the die shop and the battery cathode plant, it's probably got more floor space than both of them combined. I thought it would be a good opportunity to pull farther away to the northeast and look back along this section to that construction zone and the battery cathode plant. On the ground, we see the center dump trucks and some of the other dump trucks loading up with the dirt. This has been piled here for some time, and it was all meant to be used later on for work on that large construction site, specifically over by the electrical switch yard where they're continuing to prepare that grade. So this is what this entire section looks like right now, and how it continues to transform very rapidly. Next to the cell testing lab, that smaller white structure, we see the steel corrugated pipe for the underground water management system, also with some of the connecting joints stored here. And that pile seems to continue to grow as they bring more and more of that in. This is a great view from the east looking across the crash test facility. And we'll come back and visit the south end as there is a development that I want to show you a little later in the video. But for right now, I'm going to fly over the battery cathode plant, come back down and just give you a close-in view of the chilling unit and what it looks like today. We do see some of that condensation on the vaporizers, so that is a great sign that some degree of production is underway inside that building. The north end of the die shop shows some more of the materials waiting for installation, and I'm going to bring the drone down and fly along its west side just to give you another kind of a view and context of where we are in relation to the die shop and that new construction zone. That door is still closed, so I can't really see inside to see what is going on with that new reinforced slab that they are also working on inside the building there. As I come around the corner, I just wanted to give you a lower end view of where all of that underground water management system was reconfigured. You can see that with the new asphalt and how it ties into the existing water management system, and ultimately will exist or connect into that new construction zone. And then all of that water will be directed to the east side filtration pond for that water management to make sure that that new building does not have any water issues as we get heavy rains around the site. So I cross back over the roof of the cathode building. I'm going to come back down here at the south end of the crash test facility. A couple of things that I just want to show you. First of all, they have a little bit of concrete around those bollards at the bottom of the screen. And second, this kind of pool has been drained and the grates have been removed. They use this as part of the crash testing in case there's a problem with the batteries and they need to quench the vehicles. So the fact that it's emptied out means that they've stopped doing whatever training or testing that they were recently doing. So for now, that will bring us to an end for this video. I'll bring the drone up to a higher altitude, give you a nice view across the east side back to the main factory and that large construction zone off to the right. As always, thank you very much for watching. I very much appreciate your support. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Take care.